So even today, 48 years later, I still do meditation on a daily basis. So
Great.
I think my calmness comes from meditation, right? 40, 45, 48 years of daily meditations. So that calmness, I think, comes into every discussion. When I'm a mentor, you know how most businesses are very disorganized, very owner-driven, too much of pressure, lot of pressure, but not much of output. Right? So as a mentor, I think I am able to sort of disrupt some of that confusion, disrupt some of the unorganized way of working, and bring a more constructive way of working, a more organized way of working, a more structured way of working. So I've now been a mentor for almost 16 years now, after leaving corporate. So been dealing with all kinds of entrepreneurs, right? Earlier it used to be, initially it was with startups also, but now I don't work much with startups. I work more with the slightly more mature organizations, where they have reached some scale, but they want to reach a much larger scale, but they don't know how to get there, right? So because I come from the 30 years of structured corporate experience, I'm able to bring that into the unstructured environment of a business owner or a family business or an entrepreneur, right? So I think my model of constructive disruption is first I disrupt, right? Because I have to shake up things the way they are working right now, make the founders, make the teams slightly uncomfortable, because they all get into a comfortable way of working, right? And so I think in the first few months I make them very uncomfortable. They're saying that, look, what got you here will not get you there. So your current approach will not get you to your new destination. So now start working differently. I don't just tell them about that, I also show them how to do it. Right? So I would show them, have you tried this one? Can you try doing it this way? Why don't you try doing it this way? Or use this particular approach, or use that approach, or use this format, or use that format. So unlike a consultant who just gives advice, we actually get involved in making sure that whatever advice we're giving is also being implemented. So that's what I call constructive disruption. So you're disrupting the old way of working and constructing a new way of working, right? So that takes time. It doesn't happen in 2 months, 3 months. It takes 6, 7, 8 months before it starts falling into place, right? Organization and team is used to working in a particular way because it's not a startup, it's a running organization. And then you got to change the way the whole team is working, the founder is working, the leadership team is working, the junior people are working, the culture is reset. So all that takes time, right? So typically it's a 1-year engagement where I normally work with a client and use that period to reset the organization. So that playlist on leadership, right? It's got different videos. It's got about high performance leadership behaviors. It's got about delegative leadership style. It's got about executive presence, right? So with entrepreneurs, particularly like Salma said, they're very emotions driven, right? And they like some people, they don't like some people. They like some people, they're very nice with them. They don't like some people, they're very bad with them.
Yeah.
Right, so there's no balance in their leadership style, right? So along with the mentoring, if I'm doing only a mentor engagement and not a coaching engagement to them also, I keep pointing out gaps, the way they are constantly, giving directions, do this, do this, do this, do this, do it this way, do it that way, do it that way. They're always used to, because they're the boss, they give the instructions and they expect the team to follow, right? Whereas the right style of leadership is to develop your team members. The right style of leadership is to bring in some new talent into the organization, bring in some more senior people into the organization so that too much of dependence is not there on that one owner or founder. Right? Unfortunately, most founder-driven firms are very dependent on the founder. So the first shock treatment I give them is that if you are not in office for 1 month, will your office run or not run? And most of them, for most cases, the answer is it will not run. Right? I said that's a starting point of your problem. That if the organization is so dependent on you, then it's not a strong organization. It's a very weak organization, right? So start identifying 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people who can take some leadership role. So I think first one is recognizing that the leadership style and the leadership behaviors need to change, right? And second one is in terms of identifying more leaders within the organization or developing more leaders in the organization. That requires a lot of patience from the leader side to sit patiently and develop somebody, right? And then be able to delegate and empower to the team members, right? Most leaders struggle there because they don't know how to let go. Yeah. They want control and everything, right? From signing a check to a small spending 10,000 rupees to a small decision to what should be there in the canteen. Founders want to get into every small thing, right? Yeah. And the organization cannot grow under the founders doing what he or she is supposed to do, which is be out there in the market, network, build relationships with the key clients, build relationships with the government. That is what the founder should be doing, but the founder gets drawn into day-to-day operations. So a lot of my leadership input, even as a mentor, is about growing the founders as leaders. Right? Yeah. So I give them some of my reference videos, and I write a lot of articles and posts on LinkedIn as well. You can pass by that anytime.